What's going on, people? We got UFC 302 this weekend. We got Islam Makhachev versus Dustin Poirier in the main event. Who is going to win? Today, we're going to do a breakdown and a predictions video of every single fight on the card. And a little bit of a warning, a few of the prelim fighters I'm not too familiar with. However, I have pulled up everyone's stats on the screen, and we're going to try and make a best educated decision. Also, I just want to take this opportunity on my own channel to say it's my birthday. Happy birthday to me, and here I am still doing a video. That is dedication right there. I could be downstairs eating a bunch of sweets and me Skittles birthday cake right now, but no, I'm here doing a video. So can I get a like on the video? Appreciate you all, nice one. So here's what we're going to do. From top to bottom, we're going to pull up every single individual fighter. We're going to take a look at the stats, and we're going to make a prediction. My predictions have been somewhat all right this year. People only remember me Ryan Garcia prediction being wrong, and they forget about all the other ones that I got right. So we're starting with this fight at the bottom. Andre Lima versus Mitch Rapso. So this fight has been replaced. Let me pull up my notes right here by a guy called Nyamjargal Tumendemberel. I have no idea how to pronounce that name. I have no idea who he is either. But the guy with the stupid long name is coming in on short notice. So I'm just going to say Andre Lima is going to win this one. Chalk that up. Next, we've got the women's bantamweight fight. Ailin Perez versus Joselyne Edwards. I'll be honest, I've got no idea who these two are. I probably have seen them fight. I just probably didn't pay much attention to it. I'll take Ailin Perez to win. Don't worry, we're going to get a little bit more detailed as we go up through the card. Next, we've got Gall versus Bassil Hafez. This is where we can give a little bit more detail now. Gall, what the hell is he doing? He was meant to be like the top prospect. Well, apparently when he first fought CM Punk, I felt like he was somewhat built up into one of the next upcoming fighters, and he's 7-5. You can almost see the depression on his face. He's not happy with himself. He's not happy with his performances. He's also being pretty inconsistent. Won his first fight against that Michael Jackson fella. Oh my days, that was terrible. Then won against CM Punk, and then he won against Sage Northcutt. I think that was the problem right there. His first 3 fights were too easy. Now, he also fought Randy Brown. Randy Brown is a hard fight, and Randy Brown is also on this card as well. He's just kind of being inconsistent. He wins 1, he loses 1, he wins 2, he loses 2. And this is who he's fighting, Bassil Hafez. Now, I thought I recognised this guy, so I searched him on YouTube, and in his first UFC debut, he fought Jack Della Maddalena, who's actually a boss fighter. I really like Jack's style. He's got great striking, he's got okay wrestling, and this was a bit of a back and forth fight. There was a bit of controversy over it because some people were saying that Hafez won due to the grappling exchanges. But I think when you watch it back, Jack definitely deserved the win in this fight. But I honestly thought this wasn't a bad showing by Bassil. Now, this is only Bassil's second fight in the UFC, but I just don't like the inconsistency of Gall. So I'm going to go Bassil by, let's say, second round submission. We'll go with that. Just a guess, but we're taking Bassil to win. Moving up the card, next we've got Phil Rowe versus Jake Matthews. I like this fight. I really like Jake Matthews. Jake Matthews gives me similar sort of vibes to Jack Della Maddalena. Not because they're both Australian or New Zealand or whatever they are, but just because they've both got that swag when they fight. Now, I don't know too much about Phil Rowe. The fights that I have seen was against Niko Price and Neil Magny, his last 2 fights. So he's coming off a loss in this fight. And Jake Matthews is also coming off a loss. But what fight was it that Jake Matthews had where he looked absolutely fantastic? I think it was this one against Semmelsberger. But Jake Matthews has got a really good swaggery style when he turns it on, that is. We didn't see it in his last fight against Morales. This Phil Rowe is 6'3" in the welterweight division. He's very long and stringy. He's got a great 1-2. He can touch you from miles away. Very long reach. I would really like to say Jake Matthews to win this fight by a striking clinic. And he's also backed by Israel Adesanya. However, I'm not sure. Something about this fight tells me that he's probably going to go on a losing streak. And I think this is just the start of it. I believe we've seen a glimmer of hope in that Semmelsberger fight. And then he won 1 more, and then he lost 1, I believe. And I hope I'm wrong because I really like him. That Jake Matthews might just become one of those middle-of-the-road fighters who never really breaks into the top 10 or the top 15 even. But I think he's got the potential to do so. I would like to see Jake Matthews come out with that swagger, that Philly shell. He has his lead hands very low. He's got great defense, good head movement. But I think Phil Rowe with them long arms, that tall, long frame, 6'3" at welterweight, and that speed, them fast twitch black genetic muscle fibers. I think Phil Rowe might be able to get this done, and I might actually say a 3rd round KO or TKO by Phil Rowe or a decision. So we'll take Phil Rowe in this fight, and I am happy to be proven wrong if Jake Matthews is able to get the job done, because I think he's got potential. I just don't know if he's going to be able to capture that potential. Next, we got Grant Dawson versus Joe Solecki. Guys, I'm going to be completely honest. I haven't watched any of Joe Solecki's stuff. I've seen Grant Dawson. Grant Dawson lost his last fight against Bobby Green via TKO in the 1st round. Now, it's not too good, but before then, he actually had a decent little win streak. He was on 1, 2, 3. He was on a 3-fight win streak. The fight before that was a draw, and then before that, he was on another 4, 5, 6 win streak. It doesn't say win next to his name on some of the fights. So Grant Dawson's got 20 wins, only 2 losses. Joe Solecki, 13 wins, 4 losses. He's only got 1 win by knockout. Grant Dawson's got 4 wins by knockout, 13 wins by submission, 8 wins by submission. Fairly evenly matched in terms of finishing rate. But as I say, I don't really know much about this Joe Solecki, so I'm going to take Grant Dawson to win this fight. It's going to be a complete guess, but let's just go 3-round decision for Grant Dawson. Next, we've got Jailton Almeida, oh my days, versus Alexandr Romanov. Jailton Almeida, I remember when I first seen him in his first fight in the UFC, and I was extremely impressed. Not by his actual fight, but just the physicality of the guy. He's 6'3", 240 odd pounds, fairly lean. This picture doesn't do any justice for how shredded Jailton Almeida is. He's jacked. He is 100% on that Brazilian secret sauce. And then the fact that he was coming out of the gate and tapping everyone else. Yeah, he was on a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 fight win streak in the heavyweight division, submitting everyone until Curtis Blades came along. So Jailton Almeida was pretty scary, but after his first 3 fights, I became extremely disinterested because he is a boring fighter. I'm sorry to say it. I know grappling can be exciting, but when you see a guy who looks like this, who's an absolute tank, who's definitely on the sauce, and then he comes in and you think, okay, is he going to throw an absolute haymaker, put that fast twitch muscle fiber to good use? No, he just goes in for a simple single leg and grinds his opponent down to the floor, then gradually lynches up a choke. And although it's absolutely fantastic jiu-jitsu, it just doesn't feel exciting when it's happening. And maybe some of that is just due to the clear domination that he wins by. At least with Khabib, when Khabib would take people down, he'd battle them for ages. Whereas Jailton Almeida, you might as well go to the toilet and just know that you're coming back to a submission win in the first round by a rear naked choke with 0 strikes thrown. I can't even believe that he's attempted 240 significant strikes. They must have all been from the 5-rounder against Derek Lewis, ground and pound, because you never see Jailton Almeida throw any strikes on the feet. And the person who he is fighting is this guy, another obese heavyweight. His nickname is King Kong, and for good reason. However, when you think about it, when you see heavyweights like this, they're not really athletic, are they? You know, you look at Jailton Almeida, you know, fairly jacked, decent heavyweight. These 2 fighters are the same weight. Madness, innit? And I think they're pretty much the same height as well. I think they're both 6'2". But this dude right here could probably cut down to middleweight if he wanted to. Now, I'm inclined to think Jailton Almeida's going to get this by another first-round submission. But here's the thing. This guy's also got a decent submission record himself. He's got a good grappling background, so you'd be inclined to say, well, maybe this could actually be a bit of a back and forth until you see in this stat right here. So we've got a 54% takedown accuracy. It's okay. Every 1 out of 2 takedowns he's landing. It's good. That's good, to be fair. It's not just okay, it's good. But then look at his takedown defense. 20% takedown defense. These heavyweights have got 0 takedown defense. It's kind of like Derek Lewis. All you got to do is grab his ankle and he falls to the floor. But then he can also just stand up whenever he wants. But imagine every 10 times that you get taken down, you're only defending 2 of those takedowns. It's not really good. And Jailton Almeida, look at this, has got 75% takedown defense right there above my head and a 60% takedown accuracy. So if these 2 boys opt for a grappling fest, then the likelihood is Jailton Almeida is going to win that grappling fest. He's got better takedown accuracy and better takedown defense and better striking accuracy accuracy, although you shouldn't really count that because these are all grounded strikes. So I'm going to take Jailton Almeida by first round rear naked choke. Let's go with first round finish to Jailton Almeida regardless. You still with me? Make sure you like the video. Next we got Cesar Almeida versus Roman Kopylov. Now I'm looking forward to this fight. I think this could be a good one. I've been following Kopylov for a while. Cesar has had one fight in the UFC. Let's load these bad boys up. Let's go with Cesar Almeida first. So he's 5-0, middleweight division. He's got 4 wins by knockout. Pretty decent. 3 first round finishes, 65% striking accuracy, which is good because you know they're all on the feet because he doesn't go for any takedowns. He's got a 63% takedown defense, a lot better than the fat heavyweight we were just talking about. So although this guy has only had 1 fight, and I can't say that I've seen it, maybe I did, but I can't remember. If the fight stays standing, he will have a good chance of winning. Now, however, Roman Kopylov, he's 12-3, 11 wins by knockout, 1 win by decision, 1 first round finishes. So basically, out of 11 wins by knockout, only 1 of them was in the 3rd round, which means that he builds as the fight goes. Think about it, he's got 11 finishes, but only 1 of those finishes was in the 1st round. He's getting a lot of knockouts, but this shows that he breaks down his opponent first. It takes him a while to find the knockout, which is completely fine. He builds into the fight, and also he has got better wrestling than the other guy. He's got an 87% takedown defense, 50% takedown accuracy. Now, he is coming off a loss, but before that last loss, he was on a 4-fight win streak. So I think if this fight goes to the ground, Roman Kopylov is going to have a better chance of winning. If the fight stays standing, Cesar has got a good chance of winning, but also so has Roman Kopylov. If Cesar is going to win this, it needs to really be in the 1st round, maybe the start or early on in the 2nd round. But I think what is more likely to happen is Roman Kopylov is going to build into the fight and then maybe get a 3rd round KO on Cesar Almeida. Or maybe just a decision. Cesar Almeida, he seems durable. I don't think it's going to be easy to finish him. So let's go 3-round decision to Roman Kopylov. I'm pretty comfortable with that pick. Next, I'm looking forward to this fight, to be honest. This could be fight of the night, or we could see a big KO here. We got Randy Brown versus, I can't pronounce this guy's name. Let's just call him Dos Santos. Now, Randy Brown, talk about absolutely maxed out stats for the welterweight division. He's 18-5, right? The guy is like 6'3", 6'4", welterweight. His arms are down to his knees, and he's got a very bouncy in and out style. I wish I could show you some footage, guys, but you know that I'm struggling with a copyright strike. Yes, I said it again. But the way Randy Brown fights, he bounces all over the cage. He's like a rabbit. I was going to say he's like a monkey then, but I know there'll be people in the comments calling me for all sorts. This is how Randy Brown fights. He's all over the show, but it works for him because he's very unpredictable, very dynamic, explosive style. And this Elizeu, let me pull him back up right here. What's his name? Dos Santos. He's got that grit. He's got that Brazilian square head. You take a look at his experience as well. He's got 24 wins, 7 losses, 1 draw, 14 wins by knockout, 10 first round finishes. Now, I would be inclined to pick Dos Santos for this fight, just when you're looking at those stats. But, let me show you something. His takedown accuracy is only 14%. He's attempted 36 takedowns and only landed 2. And then even his striking accuracy is on the lower side. 42% striking accuracy. 794 strikes landed. 1,800 attempted. For someone who's got 14 wins by knockout, 10 first round finishes, he's actually fairly inaccurate with his takedowns and his strikes. Now, when you're fighting Randy Brown, it's very hard to hit Randy Brown anyway because of the style that I've just shown you. He bounces around everywhere. It's hard to actually catch him. And Randy Brown's also got a 74% takedown defense. So when you look at Dos Santos with the 14% takedown accuracy, then Randy Brown with the 74% takedown defense, we know that this fight is not going to go to the ground, right? I could be completely wrong, but just going off the stats, you've got to agree with that because that's what the numbers say. So I think what we're going to see in this fight is a stand-up battle, and I honestly believe that the stand-up battle is going to favour Randy Brown just because of his style. Even though Dos Santos has got the experience, he's got those first-round knockouts, he's a little bit older, He's 37, 38, I think he is, when I looked before. Randy Brown's younger. I think styles make fights, and Randy Brown, he's hard to hit. I think he might be able to knock out Dos Santos in the... I'll go second round knockout. Randy Brown, let's go. Next, we got Niko Price versus Alex Morono. Right, Niko Price, his last fight was against Robbie Lawler. Yep, Robbie Lawler got knocked out in the first round. That was a mad fight, that. I did not expect Robbie Lawler to get a first round knockout. It was almost weird. I remember watching that thinking, wow, it looked like he barely even hit Niko, and Niko just folded. So Niko is on a 2-fight losing streak. He's getting a little bit older now as well. There was a point in time where I thought to myself, Niko could be up there with some of the best in the division. He was stringing a bunch of wins together, but, I mean, how long ago was that? Ages ago, I think. Damn, we're going back here, 2018. Okay, it might have been a while ago. Yeah, it was around here, 2017, 2018. But this Alex Morono, man, right, I like him. He reminds me of one of those fighters where no matter how good you are, he's always in the fight. It's very hard to get him out of there. He's just a bit of a tough SOB, to be fair. And he's always game. When you see him in the fight, he is game AF. He doesn't back down. Even if he's getting battered, you will never see him quit. And I just don't think Niko Price has got that grit anymore. Maybe he never had it, but I think when it comes down to biting down on your mouthpiece, going head to head, who's got the substance within them? I think I'm going to choose Alex Morono to get this fight, you know. Both of these fighters are fairly experienced. Alex Morono's got 24 wins, 9 losses. It's a lot of fights. I think Niko Price coming off 2 losses. Alex Morono got that grit. I think he's going to get up in Niko Price's face. And I'll take an Alex Morono. Let's go with first round KO over Niko Price. Yeah. Let's do that. Alex Morono to win. My more specific prediction is first round KO over Niko Price. And then maybe a couple more fights and Niko Price should retire. Next, we got Kevin Holland versus Michal Oleksiejczuk. Oleksiejczuk. No points. There's no points. Kevin Holland. Do you know what, right? I've only just realised I've got a bunch of notes over here. I haven't even been looking at them. Right, okay, let's take a look at some notes as we do this. So we'll load up Michal first. Where is he? Here he is there. 14 wins by knockout, 11 first round finishes. Wait there. Look at this guy. This guy does not look like a middleweight, does he? And it's not like he's 6'4". He's 6 foot and looks like this. And he's middleweight. This guy could legit straight up be a lightweight. Maybe pushing it a little bit. He probably look like a Holocaust survivor, but you get me points. Now, Michal's got a good body of work. Let's scroll right down. He's even fought Khalil Roundtree. So that was back when... Was that a light heavyweight or middleweight? Damn, Khalil Roundtree used to fight at middleweight, which is crazy looking at the size of him now. And like, this was Michal's UFC debut and he won it. He's shown pretty good grappling in that fight against Khalil Roundtree. Khalil has improved leaps and bounds since this fight, but Michal's got decent grappling. Now, his last fight was against Michel Pereira, dodgeball reference, and he lost that fight. However, you're only as good as your last performance does not apply here, because since Pereira has went up to middleweight, he's looked like an absolute destroyer. He's killing people off. I think he's going to go quite far in that middleweight division. Very fast, twitchy, explosive, dynamic, fast, unpredictable style, doing capoeira in the middle of his fights. So that was a tough matchup. In fact, Pereira is a tough matchup for anyone in the middleweight division right now. Maybe not like the top 5, but you get me points. Now let's talk about Kevin Holland. Kevin. Obviously, his last fight was against Michael Venom Page. Before that, it was against Della Maddalena, then against Chiesa, then against Ponzinibbio, and then it was Stephen Wonderboy Thompson and Hamzat. Now, the thing is with Kevin Holland, right, am I still in focus here? I've noted this down because I wanted to make a point of it. Kevin Holland is good. And at one point, especially during the lockdowns, everyone was talking about him. And, you know, he was going to be the next big thing because of the way he trash talks in his fights and the confidence that he's got. But I honestly feel like he fights a little bit too frequently and doesn't actually get better. I think Kevin Holland is Kevin Holland. We're never really going to see any massive improvement in him. And I think that's why he's always just going to win 1, lose 1, win 2, lose 1, lose another 1, win 1. He's always just going to offset his wins with losses. And any time that you see him fight someone notable, he loses For example, the Stephen Wonderboys of the world, Ponzinibbio. Maybe at one time, Ponzinibbio would have won that, but Ponzinibbio has been inactive for years, and he's kind of a small middleweight, dare I say. Okay, he won against Michael Chiesa, but Chiesa has got his foot out the door. Chiesa's on the broadcast booth. Anyone who goes onto that broadcast booth always ends up losing fights. I think maybe there was one exception in Daniel Cormier, and even then, he lost his last 2 fights against Stipe, so whatever. So he's lost his last 2 fights against pretty notable people in the middleweight division. I don't think we're going to see Kevin Holland get any better. I think where Kevin Holland shines is in that top 15 to top 20 fighters. Great fighter, would absolutely batter all of us on this channel in the comments, but I just don't know if Kevin Holland has got the tools to beat Michal. I'm going to say Michal. I hope you pronounce it Michal, by the way. Let's go second round submission. I think he's going to put Kevin Holland down with a few shots first and then sync up a submission. Let's go with that. Second round, Michal. Oh, yes, okay, so now we're moving on to Sean Strickland versus Paulo Costa. Okay, use your notes, Sean. Wait there, let's have a little look at the stats first. Middleweight division, 28 wins, 6 losses, 11 wins by knockouts. Where did all those knockouts, Sean? He obviously got them earlier on in his career. 9 first-round finishes. Now, I found this interesting. Striking accuracy, 42%. Sean Strickland, I thought, would have had a higher striking accuracy percentage there. Takedown accuracy is surprisingly 64%. He just doesn't go for that many. In his entire career, he's only went for 28 takedowns. If you look at this, he's got a 77% takedown defense. It's quite tough to take Strickland down. And he's going up against Paulo Costa. Paulo Costa, he's another one who makes it hard to be his fan. Kind of like the John Joneses of the world, the Conor McGregors of the world, because he's funny. He's got a great personality. He is a good fighter, but he just doesn't fight frequently enough. Let's take a look at his activity. Since 2020, he's fought 4 times. Israel Adesanya, Marvin Vettori, Luke Rockhold, Robert Whittaker. That's not really a good schedule, especially when you look at Sean Strickland. How many times has he fought since 2020? 10. Sean Strickland's fought 2.5 times more than Paulo Costa since 2020. So, my decision first. I think I'm going to go Sean Strickland by decision. Yeah, I think it's a 5-rounder. So I'm going to take Sean Strickland by decision. I do think Paulo Costa is going to have a few moments in this fight. I'm just looking at my notes over here. So especially in the first 2 rounds, I think Paulo Costa is going to land some good low kicks. Paulo Costa's kicks are very good, by the way. He's still got that steroid power. He's also got great hooks, particularly his left body hook and his left check hook to the head. But the thing is we only see Paulo Costa throw these hooks when he's pressuring fighters. So when fighters fold to Paulo Costa's pressure, that's when he throws these dangerous, hard hooks. He dropped Yoel Romero with that check hook. Once again, when he was pressuring Yoel, he dropped Uriah Hall with the left hook to the body, I think. Once again, when he was pressuring him, Johnny Hendricks, so on and so forth. But we didn't see him land many hooks on Robert Whittaker. We didn't see him do much damage to Luke Rockhold because Luke was able to keep him away with his own kicks. Now we've seen him almost send Marvin Vettori to the next dimension with a crazy head kick. And how the hell Marvin Vettori survived that head kick, I do not know. He also caught Yoel Romero with an insane head kick, but Yoel is made of cement. But even though he's got insane head kicks, he never finishes anyone with the head kicks. So either everyone in the middleweight division has got like thick cement breeze block heads and have just got crazy chins and just don't get rocked that much, like Marvin Vettori, or Paulo Costa doesn't actually have much power in those head kicks. But I believe Paulo Costa has got the ability to crack Sean Strickland with a head kick. So to get a little bit more detailed about the strategy behind that, Sean Strickland parries a lot and he reaches for those body jabs. That's how Alex Pereira finished Sean Strickland, because he went body, and then feinted to the body and came up with that left hook to the head. And as Sean Strickland's hands came down, Sean got knocked out. Sean fights like this. So Paulo Costa could do a Leon Edwards special or the Robert Whittaker special, where he goes 1, 2, and after the 2, you just use that to get Sean Strickland to parry. You throw the head kick round right on the temple. That'd knock out Sean Strickland. Or you could just throw a cross to the body, hoping that Sean Strickland reaches for it and parries for it, and then your body goes down and your leg comes up and over the cross. That'd catch Sean Strickland as well. However, I think Sean Strickland's defense game is pretty good. And I believe that Shaun is going to get caught a few times in the first 1-2 rounds and then just gradually take over as the fight goes on. I think we're going to see a 5-round Shaun Strickland decision win. Paulo Costa's being too inactive. He hasn't finished anyone in a while. And to beat Shaun Strickland, you have to finish him. So I think Shaun Strickland will win rounds 3-5. Paulo Costa, maybe the first 2. But Paulo Costa is always dangerous though. So don't be surprised if Paulo Costa gets a late finish on Shaun Strickland. But for my prediction, we're going with Shaun Strickland. And finally, we got Islam Makhachev versus Dustin Poirier. We've done a detailed breakdown of this the other day, mainly talking about how Islam Makhachev gets the win, and I do believe that Islam is going to get the win. We don't really need to go through his stats. He's only ever lost once. That was in his UFC debut, and it was a knockout. So Islam has shown that he can get knocked out. However, he's been on the Russian sauce since then, and he's packed on a lot of muscle, and he's a lot harder to hit than he used to be. Islam Makhachev has got pretty decent striking. People just think of him as a grappler because that's how he was winning all of his early fights, and he comes from the Khabib camp. However, look at him in his last few fights. He went toe-to-toe with Alexander Volkanovski for 5 rounds. Volkanovski underestimated Islam's striking. Volk said that himself. He knocked down Charles Oliveira before submitting him, and then he head kick KO'd Alexander Volkanovski in the rematch. I believe what we're going to see in this fight is Islam knock down Dustin Poirier in the first round, maybe the second round, but I'm going to go first round. I think Dustin is going to be focusing on the takedown a bit, and Islam is going to catch him with a right hook. These two fighters are both in the southpaw stance. I don't think there's going to be any head kicks in this fight. The head kick isn't available to Makhachev because they are both in a southpaw stance, and then Dustin Poirier doesn't even throw any kicks in general. So I believe we're going to see Islam with a nice counter right hook catch Dustin Poirier, and that's either going to rock Dustin, and then Islam goes for the takedown, or it's going to drop Dustin, and Islam's going to get in on him and latch up a guillotine or a choke of some sort. So I believe that Islam is going to knock down Dustin Poirier in the first round and then is going to be able to get a submission victory. Now, slight spanner in the works. There was some rumours going around that Islam Makhachev has got a staph infection, which you can see right here. Now, I mean, is that a staph infection? Kind of looks like one, but it could be anything. It could also just be a mosquito bite. You just don't know really, but if he's got a staph infection, that obviously works in Dustin Poirier's favour, but I still think it's not going to be enough to get the job done for Dustin Poirier. I think Islam Makhachev is going to win by clear domination. I hope I'm wrong because I would love Dustin Poirier to win over Islam Makhachev, but I just don't see anyone taking the belt from Makhachev anytime soon. I'm actually more intrigued into a Conor McGregor versus Islam Makhachev fight than a Islam versus Dustin Poirier fight. I think Conor would have a better shot of getting Islam out of there than Dustin. So we'll go Islam, first round victory via submission and via a knockdown first before the submission. What do you guys think? Comment all your predictions down below. I'll put a timestamp in the pinned comments of all the predictions. So if you want to copy and paste that timestamp and then do all your predictions as well, go for it. Make sure you like this video. Appreciate you all tuning in. I'm going to have some Skittles cake because that was a long ass video, and I'll see you tomorrow.